The world was left stunned after Liverpool forward Diogo Jota died in a car crash. Trump's big beautiful bill actually passed and people are now losing their minds. Boxer Julio Cesar Chavez has been detained by ICE just days after losing to Jake Paul. Don't know which one's worse. And the man who invented mewing has died. God, it's a tragic episode. We're gonna be talking about all of that and so much more. So let's stop the yapping and let's get cracking! Okay, starting today with some seriously tragic news. As you've probably heard by now, yesterday 28-year-old Diogo Jota, who is a Liverpool forward and also Portuguese national, sadly passed away after getting into a car crash in Spain. And today we've got some more details as to what happened. So Diogo and his brother André Silva, who is also a professional footballer, were driving in Zamora, Spain, when his car, a Lamborghini, left the road due to a tire blowout while trying to overtake another car. Now this was around midnight. It was a complete freak accident and no other cars were involved. Now after crashing, it set on fire and both were confirmed to have died. But we now also know why Diogo was driving in Spain in the first place. According to police, he and his brother were on their way back to England, but they couldn't fly because his doctor said that it wasn't good for his recent lung operation that he had. So they were trying to drive to Santander to go get the ferry back to England to begin pre-season fitness testing. Now, unfortunately, they never made it there, and Liverpool has now cancelled these tests that were due to take place today in the wake of this news. And since the crash, huge amounts of tributes worldwide have been pouring in from footballers, world leaders, fans, and of course, his family and friends. Speaking of which, and I said this on my TikTok yesterday, but man, the whole day I just couldn't get his family situation out of my head. Because just think about it. Think about being his mother and his father. Both of their only two sons, their only two children, in fact, gone together overnight. Imagine waking up that following morning, having to just sink in with that news. Sink in with that new reality. Think about his wife, who has been with him for over 13 years, before the fame, before the money, and they only recently got married in the last 10 days. She has now lost her husband, finally, after they decided to tie the knot and get married. And then, of course, let's not forget their 3 children. The oldest, only 4 years old. The youngest, born in December 2024. And not only will they now grow up without a father, but the mother will have to raise them by herself without him. And that's not to mention the millions of fans who has now lost him and his brother as well. All because of a tire that blew out. Man, life can be... I mean, Alex and I had a long chat about this yesterday. We were talking about how, you know, no one's spared. No matter how much money you have, nor fame, how much work you've put into your life to build anything, can get taken away by some meaningless things. I don't think there's much more I can even say on the topic, but rest in peace, Diogo Jota and André Silva. Liverpool, you better retire the number 20. Moving on. Also, last night, one of the biggest and most record-breaking, but also most controversial bills of its kind was actually passed. Elon and Trump even broke up because of it. Some say that it's the worst bill ever passed, while Trump says that it's going to turn the American economy into a rocket ship. So, if you have no idea what to believe, here's an unbiased summary so that you can make up your own mind. The first thing that you need to understand is that they didn't lie. This thing is big. In fact, it is massive. It is over 1,000 pages long, and the first criticism is that people are saying that Congress didn't have enough time to read through 1,000 pages. And they also said that they were going around the clock. So many worry that, you know, this combination of time pressure and also tiredness could have allowed for some sneaky little somethings to be missed that are snuck in that are much harder to reverse once they're law, which Trump is now planning to sign this on the 4th of July and make it all law. But the easiest way for me to kind of summarize and condense all of this is the good old winners and losers list. We love those. I'm going to do a rapid fire 6 from each side, all right? The first loser from this bill is low-income Americans. Now, there's not really any way to sugarcoat this, but there has been big cuts to America's safety net system. And the people who could be hit by this the most are the ones that are on Medicare and food stamps. Because for the first time in the program's history, eligibility now relies on that person working or logging an actual job, volunteering, taking classes, or participating in job training. If they don't, gratatata, get off the program. The first winner is high-income Americans. Not really the kind of way that you'd see this working, but it's the way it is. So, and this is a mouthful, but the Institute on Taxation and Economy Policy did an analysis, and they concluded that 72% of the value of the tax cuts will go to the top 20% of earners. That's a big portion. Then a further 20% of cuts will go to the top 1% of earners. Our second losers from this bill is undocumented immigrants. Actually, in a bit of a double whammy, the first one is that ICE are now going from an $8 billion annual budget to a $100 billion annual budget, which is actually, funnily enough, more than a lot of countries' entire national defense budget. Just on ICE. I mean, that's America, hey? But then also for these undocumented migrants, if you don't have a social security number, you can't actually claim any more. A lot of different tax credits, like child tax credit, even if their child is American. Winner number 2, you guessed it, the military. Roughly $150 billion will be funneled into new ships, missiles, quality of life for troops, building the Golden Dome, and then also delivering Pentagon its largest single-year boost in a very long time. Loser number 3 is hospitals. Now, this bill actually pulls money out of two pots that depend on quite a lot: Medicaid payments and special safety net subsidies. And not only that, but with potentially millions being kicked off of Medicare, it could mean that a lot more people show up to hospital uninsured and not able to pay. Winner number 3, though, is America's corporations. That's because businesses will now be allowed to fully write off the cost of equipment, cost of research, and development within a year that it is incurred. Loser number 4, we have clean energy. Now, this bill scraps a whole bunch of subsidies for EVs, for solar, for hydrogen, and I think there's a few more. But it also allows Trump to drill, baby, drill.
Drill, baby, drill.
Which I guess could end up in lower costs for energy, but also worse for the planet. So, yeah. Winner number 4, though, we have manufacturers in America. And I guess you could see this one coming with all of the tariff stuff, make stuff in America. But businesses will now be allowed to fully and immediately deduct the cost of building all of those new factories and manufacturing facilities. Loser number 5, Elon Musk. Now, Tesla is going to lose its federal clean vehicle credit system, which is... without having to explain it in a sentence in this video, they basically make billions of dollars. They actually rely on it quite heavily for their profit margin, and they actually make the money from other car companies. I know, a little bit confusing, but they lose it now. So that's pretty massive. Bad news for Elon. Winner number 5 is people who get paid tips. And that's pretty self-explanatory. There's no tax on tips anymore, all the way up to like $160K maximum earning cap. Our final loser is the national debt. Because all of these tax cuts and extra spending is going to raise the national debt over the next 10 years by $3.4 trillion. And that number is actually really significant. It's big. It's, I believe it is the biggest that Congress has approved since World War II. But in a little bit of context, every president since 1960, I believe it's actually 1920, but let's be safe and say 1960, has raised the national debt. Both Republican, both Democrat. It's all because every administration has spent more than they've brought in. So it's not unique to Trump. It's just unique to Trump that it's gone, I guess, more than everyone else. Well, not everyone, but most. And then let's talk about our final winner. We have small businesses. That's nice. Do more for small businesses, eh? They essentially get lower taxes and more write-offs, which is basically makes it easier for them to hire staff, upgrade gear, and perhaps survive a slow season. But that is all we have time for Alex to edit, because I bet he's looking at me through the screen right now. You
foreign casserole.
Shut the yap and let's wrap this video up. But what are your guys' thoughts on the bill? Let me know if you like it, whether you hate it, but moving on. Also, in the last 48 hours, boxer Julio Cesar Chavez was arrested. And this was done by US immigration, and they now have plans to deport him. And this comes just a couple of days after losing to Jake Paul. So bro's having the worst week. And the insane reason that he was actually arrested wasn't just because he's like in the country illegally, which is what you would expect, but it's because they say he is being linked to the notorious Mexican Sinaloa drug cartel, which was actually labeled a terrorist organization by the US last year. And it doesn't even stop there, because in Mexico, he has an active arrest warrant for his involvement in organized crime. I guess, which is also kind of weird, because he's visited Mexico multiple times that he's had this arrest warrant, but he's not been arrested ever since then. He has, however, been arrested in the US a few times before. This is for illegal possession of firearms and drunk driving. Now, his lawyers, as you'd imagine, they denied these allegations. They say, nuh-uh, but the Department of Homeland Security insists that under President Trump, this is the quote, "no one is above the law, including world-famous athletes." Moving on. And then, you guys know mewing, right? When you put your tongue at the top of your mouth. Alex, you know mewing, right? Anyway, supposed to give you that shape line of the jaw. Well, the doctor who actually started it, John Mew, which is where the name comes from, ironically. I didn't actually know this until I heard that John Mew is dead. At 96. Bro's 90. Bro made it. 96-year-old is impressive. Must be in all the mewing. And to be fair, bro really did have one heck of a jawline for someone that is nearly a century old. He's been described as a pioneer, a philosopher of health, and a true force of change, making one person more beautiful at a time. And apart from his work in shaping the world of mewing, just listen to the other things bro has done. He was also a Formula One test driver, World War II dispatch raider, America's Cup sailor. He was a castle builder, which, what even is that? He was an anthropologist, a GB downhill skier, an author, and a father of 3, which Alex will say is the most impressive out of all of those. But guess what? It's not over, because his son, Mike Mew, well, he is taking the torch of mewing and promoting it's more than just a practice of mewing, isn't it? It's a philosophy, a lifestyle of the mew. May strong jawlines across the world respect and honor the world that he has created. Moving on! Oh, and then just because I guess, actually, it's the 4th of July. It's America. This is a terrible story to do. Also, it could be fitting. But a new mural has been unveiled in France depicting Lady Liberty covering her face in shame. How dare you? Now, it's called the Statue of Liberty Silent Protest, and the Dutch artist says that it's meant to reflect the shame for the United States' current immigration policies. Just wait till she hears about the big, beautiful bill. Then it's gonna be summoned. Oh yeah, actually, it is kind of topical for the day, but it was scheduled to release and be unveiled on the 4th of July, which was a meaningful, they called it a coincidence, which I do not believe for 1 second. The artist who created this said, the values that the statue once stood for, which is freedom, hope, and the right to be yourself, have been lost for so many, which is why it's like this. And that is our Rapid Fire Friday.
Saturday.
That's got a ring to it. Also, very quickly in today's video, we are going to be handing out our first News Daddy badge of honor. Bam! Here it is. And that is because you have done something amazing. They said that they have disliked every one of Daily Mail's video. You are a true stallion and a servant of the empire. Mwah! I love you. Keep up the mewing. But that is it. Have a fantastic weekend. And if you're in America, have a fantastic 4th of July. Happy birthday, America. And we will see you on Monday. Woo! Jennifer Shaw, yeah, Papa.